happening? I'm Fatimah Talia with my girl.
What up, boos? It's Alicia.
Yes. You guys, we are back and we are talking about today.
We're talking about the top 5 habits we're breaking going into summer.
Yes.
Things that we just want to leave behind so we can live our best lives this summer. Yes.
And I think it's cool to acknowledge it. Because sometimes you're like, you know what? I'm not doing that more. You ever said that and still do it again?
Yes. But also, you kind of don't acknowledge it out loud. You kind of acknowledge it in your head. So that way, if you acknowledge it in your head, but you don't acknowledge it out loud, nobody knew that
you don't hold yourself accountable.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Nobody knew you was disappointing yourself. You knew.
You knew. Like you gotta, when you say it out loud, I feel like it's official. Yes. It's officially, you're changing that.
It's a message to the universe that says, I am actively seeking to change my behavior. Mm-hmm. And then if you don't do it, the universe be calling you out. And you also be calling you out. And sometimes your friends might call you out. So
yeah. I think what made me think about this topic was I am trying to take control of my life. In other words, like I keep complaining, I feel like in episodes where I'll be like, I just don't want this to happen to me again. Mm-hmm. I just don't want to do what I had to do last year, or I feel like I'm in repeat, or life isn't moving ahead. So I feel like I have to hold myself accountable of changing the way I do things and see things in order for my summer to be better than last summer.
I agree. I also feel like what you fear, you attract. So anytime you're constantly like, I don't want to do this. What you fear, you attract.
Okay.
There's a thing that happens where you're constantly like fixated on something you don't want. Oh. And because you fixate on it so much, you pull it in.
Really? Well, maybe that's, you know what? Let me stop thinking about being poor.
Yes. Just to live a rich life. And
that's one bag I've been dragging.
Yes.
I ain't letting go of the broke bag.
Yes. Let the broke bag go, baby.
You be like in fear of it though. So you always be like fighting against it.
Yeah. So. But I think if we let go of the stuff that we fear in a way that's like, you don't obviously got to be reckless, but I think just in a way of like being conscious of not ruminating on it, like going over and over and over it in our head and figuring out ways that we can like move through our day without highlighting that as the thing that we're worried about.
Yeah, I think for me too is living in the now. Yeah. It's not even I'm always worried about something. Sometimes you don't even realize you're living exactly what you pray for, exactly what you want. And you just have this perception of what you think is going to look like. You don't even realize you're there already.
I definitely am living in a dream that I wrote in 2018. Yeah. Like I am pursuing my own thing full time now. I'm like working from home. Like I do Lyft, but the stuff that I do for myself, I can do that from home. I can do that from coffee shops. Yeah. I don't have to report to anybody. It is a dream that I had in 2018 that I was much too afraid to go after. And now after years and years and years, I've finally looked up and I think I said this last week, the money is not there yet, but it's coming.
I feel like I think I have the syndrome of you so used to chasing better, you don't realize better is here. Yeah. Like, for example, like I had a moment recently this week where I was just like mad about something where I'm just like, it's never. Then it became what I wanted. And then I was just like, I need to find something to complain about.
You're like, the water's too smooth.
But like you find the turbulence? Yourself like in a space, like I laughed at myself. I was like, you're so used to chasing success. When success is here, you question it or you trying to find something wrong with it when it's just like,
you could just live in this. You can just like live bask in the moment, in the glow of your hard work. Yeah.
So that adds to one of my top 5 things. Okay, so what I'm doing.
Tell us what your first thing is that you're giving.
My first thing is, since we're talking about it, is to live in a moment. Okay. I find myself a lot in life being like, I'm gonna be this type of girl, or I'm not letting people do this when I'm at this level. Or if I'm like in my mind, I'll be like, success to me is a lot of money as an entertainer. So in my mind, I'm like, when I'm living in this condo and when I'm this, my reaction to this will be this, or I will be more happy or live my life in this way. Yeah. Whereas I'm like, girl, live like that now.
Live it now. It's fine.
The McDonald's is going to taste the same.
It's going to taste the same. But also, I just feel like we'll never have a good time when we trying to like restrict ourselves and like fit in a box.
Yeah.
Because we don't feel like we have the means to live outside the box.
Yeah.
Honestly, when you go outside the box, you find the means anyway.
Yeah.
The means just will figure out how to like attach themselves to your reality.
Absolutely.
Because you're out moving and shaking and like living your best life.
Yep.
You be in that box missing your opportunities.
Be an it girl now.
Yeah, be an it girl now, bitch.
That's what I've been telling myself.
Leave
like
the
I've been
house.
like literally being like, you think that when you have more money, you're gonna be able to dress better and take care of yourself. You could do those things now. You just have to figure out how to do them where you're at now.
Yep.
And like, dress cool now. Don't wait for the stuff
wait,
now.
baby.
Do it on a budget.
And the thing is, like, I feel like the fashion starts at the bottom anyway. Like fashion starts at the street level, and then all the luxury brands will come and interpret what they see the street level doing.
Oh, street
fashion is the absolute most like core part of fashion in general. This is where everything starts. And we have always like innovated and figured out how to turn a $2 tank top into a fucking night on the town look.
Listen, that's
like
where
we're gonna do that.
Designers get that odd ass shit from.
That's where they
like,
get it
people
from.
make fun of.
Yes.
They be putting like a hanger over their neck and going outside. Baby, somebody didn't have nothing to wear that night and said, let me put a bunch of hangers around my neck.
I just feel like when you broke, fashion. You really will just figure out how to become the most star-studded version of yourself.
Listen, I turned a dish towel into a halter one time.
Baby, I've done it with a scarf.
Highlight of the night, baby.
Yes,
let's go.
I've done it with a scarf. We gonna live our life. Okay?
So for me, one of my to really pursue this year is to like live
in the moment
and be the girl that I want to be now, not wait for my success or however I painted it in my mind to look like, live like how it's already painted that way, So this summer to me is really like giving myself the grace of looking nice and taking myself out somewhere nice and just enjoying my life instead of being like, well, you're not there yet, or you don't have the money yet, or you need to save for this. It's just like, live now.
Yeah. So, and I'll piggyback on that because one of mine is not to be like sitting in the house when I'm overstimulated. Ooh. So I tend to get into hermit mode.
Okay.
I'll get overstimulated and I'm like, okay, I cannot leave the house. I need to like be by myself. But the thing is, like, you don't actually recover from overstimulation. You do if you have like a couple hours by yourself or a day by yourself. But I could go in a hermit mode for like a long ass time.
Okay.
I don't think you need to do that. As I'm like getting older, I'm understanding that I feel a lot better when I'm social, when I'm going to the beach, when I'm going to museums, when I'm going to the botanical garden and like brunches with my friends and just being very intentional about spending my time in a way that like enriches my life. Because we get into hermit mode and a lot of that is dictated by the fact that we don't have money. Like we're just kind of like, I'm not really sure how I'm going to pay for everything. So I'm going to just sit this one out and enjoy some me time because I need it anyway.
Yeah.
When in reality, your me time doesn't necessarily have to be you spending all your time alone.
Yeah.
Your me time could be you not working on these major projects. You not like, for me, it would be me not driving, me not being glued to my phone, editing content. Like it could be me hanging out with my friends and investing in my mental health in that way.
And that, I think that's important. Like, because a lot of us get like that now from being tired from work or whatever it is. So you can get in hermit mode easy.
Yeah.
But you do realize, like, I know I do this. Like, there's sometimes I'm like, I don't really want to go somewhere because in my mind, I'm telling myself I don't have the money and I'm tired and I want to be by myself. But ever notice you go out and that energy you get from
going out,
transferring that from, being out and about and dressing nice and talking to people, it gives you energy.
Good. Getting on your little phone, looking at yourself, you're like, damn, bitch, you look amazing.
It gives
today.
you motivation to whatever else you're trying to do with your life. So I think, it's important.
I'm totally 100% on that. And the other thing I was going to piggyback on that you said was like kind of being the it girl now. Like, I really want to make sure that I am not wasting money on things that I can do at home. So no more hermit mode. Yeah. But, and I love my nail girl. Like, shout out to her. I'm going to be back when the money get right. But in the meantime,
I would do it as a special occasion.
No, at some point.
You said no.
No, yeah.
I'm coming back.
At some point, I'm going to be back in that bitch every 2 weeks. But for right now, because I'm in a situation where I do have to be more conscious of my finances, I cannot spend $240 a month on my nails.
Right.
And I was doing that last year. And that is an expense that just does not make sense for me financially right now. And so I'm being very honest with myself and saying, what else could I be putting that 240 to? And a lot of times that looks like for me reinvesting in my business, like reinvesting in my blogging and my like car, investing in like stuff that I can do out with my friends. Because the thing is, there's
a whole lot you can do with $240.
There's a lot you can do with $240. And you have to think of everything as an opportunity cost. So if you're doing what is that preventing you from doing over here? Like if I'm doing ABC over here, that's going to prevent me from doing XYZ.
Right.
So if I'm spending that $240 over here, I can't go out with my friends and to the Beyonce concert. Right. And you know she coming. We got a whole fucking album.
We got a lot to save.
We need to get our money up. Exactly. So
she gonna this ain't Texas.
Yes.
No, I feel you there. Yeah. I think finding ways to be social, it gives you a sense of there are other ways other than spending money too. Like you can invite friends over for a dinner party, or you can be like, let's meet at the park. Everybody bring
that shit, y'all.
Yeah. So that just, to me, I feel like that's what helped me with like finding other ways to like hang out with my friends. Yeah. Budgeting in like pandemic. Yeah. Because when we couldn't do nothing,
baby, you had to figure out ways. We was in the park. I ain't been to a park since my early 20s, and baby, I was in a park multiple times.
We did a lot of park.
We was in the park
brunches.
Like I don't be going to cookouts in LA. I feel like we beach, but we don't be at the park in LA. That's just not.
I did do a lot of park stuff.
We was in the park, yeah.
So that's another way of like doing something, getting yourself out of the house, not spending a lot of money. Like because I feel like I'm gonna be social.
I'm gonna be social. I'm gonna be. So I think
I'm not gonna put myself in the financial box that I have placed myself in the past, where you're just like, oh, I can't go out tonight, like you were saying. Like just no, I'm not doing that.
I remember, so I think about 2022 versus 2023. We were outside in 2022, like in the summertime, baby, we was lit. And 2023,
I have the most fun when I'm poor.
Oh yeah, baby, I be living my best life.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what happens. And the thing is, we just haven't had money yet to be like having the good time then. It's fine. It's coming. But like long-term money, right? Like money where it's just kind of like, I am great for the next 2 years. I don't have no worries in the world.
I think living in LA makes it difficult. You're always like, I have to have so many like catch me if something doesn't work out money type things. I don't know. I couldn't think of the right word.
No, but I know what you mean. Yeah, like it's
emergency fund type stuff.
A real thing. You might get an email from your landlord that say, this is the month where you got to pay an extra $75 for fucking why? But it happens every year. Like, so you just do have to be on your P's and Q's. But I think when I think about 2022 versus 2023, we were just outside in a very different way in 2022. 2023 was real hard for me.
I think that we were outside a lot because that was like the year right after really getting out of pandemic. So people really was trying to do outside real hard. We was doing a percolator real hard. Outside, you know what I'm saying? Now I feel like everybody's settled again. So now we seeing outside for what it's worth. Because when we definitely came out of pandemic, things were more expensive.
Yeah.
It was. I remember everybody saying like, dang, we are now finally able to be outside. And we can't afford to be here.
Yeah.
So I think we are now in real time seeing how expensive it is to where we're not really out there.
Yeah.
Whereas when we hadn't been able to be out there, we were like, forget it. We're going to spend the money.
We're going to spend the money. And we're going to find a way to spend the money.
And so now everybody's like, there isn't any more money.
Yeah.
We've got to go inside.
And either way, I'm figuring out the money and I'm turning up in 2024 because I just want to have a very different summer experience. Like, yeah.
Which is, okay, was my last one, but I go into it now, rewarding myself. I guess I go, I want to reward myself more. I feel like multiple summers, even if I was like having a good time because I didn't have like the funds or jobs or whatever, I was, going out, but I was still in this worry mode.
Yeah.
I would be out and I'd still be worried about what I couldn't pay or what my life was going to be or if I'm going to get that, just worried about stuff. I definitely grew up in a worried family, so I have that bad gene. But I want to like celebrate myself and reward myself. I've been doing a lot of that so far this year. Like even if it's a small check I'm getting, I'm like, oh, you can't afford it. I'll take myself to a quick happy hour.
You should.
Or whatever it is that I want for myself, whether it's a facial, something I want to buy, something nice to wear. But I think giving yourself something is important. And I'm adding that to my top of my list.
Okay. I actually am going to piggyback on that and add, I want to definitely, because I think you said this earlier, date myself more.
Oh, yeah. And what I mean by dating yourself more, like I started this last year, but even going hard on what I cook for myself at home, how my presentation looks, how the plating, the wine, the pairing, I go hard on like wine and dining myself.
Yeah. I do. I think I was doing that. 2023 was just such a like shit show of a year. I kind of like a lot of the accoutrement I used to provide for myself.
I think it was more like, for me, it was a good year. 2023 was a great year. I think.
Okay. I love that for you.
It was just a lot of doors I would open wouldn't be what I wanted, and I just have to start crying.
You have to close them a little bit?
So no, it would be like I was having fun, and I would open the door and be like, and then close it back, and they'd be like, sorry, and then I would open it, like, that's how it felt all year. Like, it was cool.
Yeah.
A lot of fun shit was happening, but every door I would open would be like, no!
What is this?
Like, devastating crying, no. But it was no worse. I thought 2023 was a great year as far as like setting me up for what I know now.
Okay.
Disappointing.
Agreed. Agreed.
That's why my top things are these choices, because in 2023 it was so many like, what is
behind box like, number 4?
Exactly.
More bullshit.
Yeah. And so once you reevaluate all that bullshit, you like, this is what I'm not doing this year.
Yes.
So like,
yeah.
Okay. So I think,
another thing that I'm not doing, because last year I was kind of on a very like extreme ends of the spectrum. Like it's all or nothing for a lot of shit.
Okay. Oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I'm not doing that no more. I'm going to give myself a little bit more balance from my vices.
Nice.
So yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, because I think we get very like caught up in having to be perfect. Perfectionism, like really be beating our asses.
Or just that. For me, it's the perception of how I want something to be or look, whether it's a relationship, a job. Like, I don't know if you do this, but like, I'm the type, I'll get the job and already in my mind, I'm painting the picture of how this outcome's gonna look. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, you're CEO now. And I'm like living through that in my mind. Like, yes.
I do this.
And like, you're marrying him now and these are the kids. And you're like, yeah, like I do all this to myself. To where when I'm actually in real time in life and it's not going the way that I've already like taken myself through,
like, what the
I'm
fuck is this shit? And the thing is that could be happening in real life. It's great. It could be amazing. It's just not what you envisioned. And so it's not good enough.
My envision be having me out here super sad.
The envisioning really be fucking shit up.
What's the word that you use for that? Because the expectation.
Meeting the reality. And it'd be like, yeah. I definitely want to be better about that this year because so last year I went sober for 5 months.
Okay.
And it was great. I think that you definitely should do a stint of sobriety if you have
fasting.
Yeah, if you have like a history of alcoholism or drug use in your family, which I do, and you're kind of just constantly overthinking what your consumption looks like, do a stint of sobriety because it kind of helps recalibrate your thinking around it. And so last year I did this long stint of sobriety. I didn't really have an idea of like how long I wanted to go, but I just knew I needed to do more than 30 days. So I ended up going.
Damn, that's a long time. Did you get to hear and did you hear what they said?
I did, baby. The way that the universe be speaking to me, baby. God be talking to me right in my ears. Crazy.
I got no patience. If he don't come in the next hour or so, open up the wine. He didn't hear us. That's my problem.
But the funny thing is, like, you really do get so like tapped in. It's crazy. Yes. And so now I'm at this place where I'm like, I don't necessarily want to do a long ass stint of sobriety again because it feels kind of extreme to me. Like, I be having a good time. I want to have champagne. I want to smoke a little weed with my friends.
Well, now you might be like clear in an elevated space to where you don't have to do it that long.
I don't have to do it that long. And so what it is for me now is saying, okay, I'm in a space now where I want to smoke a couple times a week, or I might want to smoke every day, and that's okay. I'm not about to beat myself up about it though. That's
I love
the phase
that you
I'm in.
You know, if I want to be a crackhead, that's
literally
that's how I feel now though.
Yes, because I think we just really.
You're a crackhead, but I'll be out here being like, if I'm gonna have a glass of wine, I'm gonna have it.
But I think the funny thing about you saying crackhead is that's how we treat ourselves about smoking and drinking. When smoking and drinking is,
we grew up in the hood.
We did, but smoking and drinking
in the hood
ain't crack. But we end up having these very like.
You don't want to be a crackhead though.
Yes. But you're not. Like,
but your mind
really be like, bitch, you really are smoking for the 4th day in a row.
Because if you grow up where you see that's some real shit.
Yes.
That's some real.
You're constantly hyper vigilant about how you interact with weed and liquor.
Yeah, I don't like nobody in a weed store being like, you want that green crack? No, ma'am.
Yeah.
Nothing with crack in it for me. Give me something else.
Give me the light.
Give me the
crack light.
Leave the crack alone. What's the other one's names?
But I just don't want to be that rigid no more because it's not fun. Like, and the thing is, like, Like
Also, you got to accept yourself.
Yes, I like to have a good time. I like to drink. I like to smoke. I also appreciate the fact that I was able to go sober for 5 months and the clarity that I was able to get. And I also appreciate that now that I'm back to drinking and smoking, I have like pockets of time that I use. So I might say I'm drinking this Sunday when I'm out to brunch with my friends, and then I might not have another drink for 2 weeks. That was all I wanted in the first place, was to have the balance. I might say I'm smoking right now and I'm just smoking every day and I'm okay with it, and then not smoke again for a month and a half.
Right.
Because the ultimate goal for me was to just feel like I was more in control of it. Yes. Yeah. So I'm not doing no more rigid, extreme dieting, extreme sobriety. And I know that people are like, sobriety is fine. You don't have to call it extreme sobriety. For me, in LA, like, I want to have a good time. So I'm going to do that.
Like, I think it's also, like you were saying, I think like when you hold yourself accountable, how tough you are on yourself. If you're someone that's tough on yourself, that's like a headache. Yeah.
Like I am my biggest critic all the time. Like I be beat my ass. And my sister be having to be like, girl.
I guess
you're doing the most.
I'm like that when it comes to work. But when it comes to like things that maybe I break a habit, I'll be like, that's me. Unless it's like,
so this is what I'm working on, is being less like, I've ruined my life.
Yeah, I'm not that bad when it comes to just like things. It's more of a work ethic for me. Like work ethic, I'm the worst with myself. I'll be doing like 20 things, like, you're not doing enough. Like that's my problem. But like, when it comes to like habits I break, whether it's like a workout or like eating something or drinking something, I'll be like, okay, it wasn't a time for it.
We're going to adopt this mentality going forward.
I do that. But
we're going to adopt this mentality going
another
forward.
one on my list, I was going to say, I don't want to hold on anymore to what's gone.
Yes.
I'm really bad at dwelling on past things. Like, it doesn't even matter if I've gotten over it. You'll see me over it. New job, new stuff. But I'll still be like, if they can see. Like, like, revenge will be mine. Like, I need to like let it go. Like, I need to like know that when things are over and done, that was a part of my life that was a lesson. That was a part of my life. It was to get me to certain spaces and move on. Yeah. Like, I need to learn how to move forward faster, I feel like.
I kind of think that's like a part of your healing process. Like, now that you've acknowledged it, it'll probably be easier. But I also think a lot of that comes from the fact that somehow or some way you felt invalidated in the experience that you're holding on to. And so invalidated or like violated in some way, or you didn't get something out of it that you wanted to get out of it. And so what ends up happening is you're constantly revisiting because you want to prove back to that version of yourself and whatever that circumstance was that you were worthy of being there. Yes. And you always were. It just wasn't the thing for you.
I know. I have that terribly. Like, it'll be like, for example, now there's like a job. I think the job had to just lock the doors. They had to like, we can't let her get in because she never gonna quit, even though we doing stuff to make her quit.
I feel like jobs and men do this. They like linked up and they was like, how can we terrorize women
enough for them to never come back? Yeah, like now
instead of just saying you're fired or I would like to break up. Like,
but I have to learn how to be like, oh, this is not working. Yeah, like I have a bad tendency of like job, relationship, or a friendship to where I'll give something too many chances. Yeah. I'll give it too many chances to make me feel low. And I'll keep going to it being like, why would you make me feel so low? Yeah. Let's try to work this out. Hey, you remember when you said I ain't shit?
Trying to like, convince yourself and the thing that it's the right thing for both of you. Yeah.
And it's both telling you this person is clearly, or that person is clearly not, they don't respect you or they don't feel whatever, because you shouldn't have to keep going back and forth with this job telling them how to pay you on time or respect you. Yeah. Or you shouldn't have to keep going back to this man being like, I don't like the way you make me feel here or this friend. When you have to do that several times, this ain't the friendship. This ain't the relationship. This ain't the job.
Because the thing is, the people who actually value you and care about you, if you bring something to their attention that is like upsetting to you, hurt your feelings, like I didn't feel valued in this way, they're going to rectify that behavior immediately. Like there's not even a question. It's profusely apologetic, and then changed behavior. Mm-hmm. And it's in that order at all times for people who care about you and for spaces that you're supposed to be in.
Also, trust that gut. When I have gut feelings about people, places, things, a lot of times I'll ignore it. A lot, like, it's something I'm working on too. I'm trying to do this year. I'll bring this into it. I'm trying to work on not allowing myself to feel like bad when I feel a bad feeling. Do you ever have that? Like if I'll get a good feeling about a job or a person or a place, I'll immediately be like, you're overthinking. So don't think this.
Oh.
You're making too much of a big of a deal. You take everything so personally.
Okay.
You need to not be this way, and then I'll allow it.
Okay.
Because I'm like trying not to always be
your intuition so much.
And then it'll be like, well, they had the knife the whole time. You saw them. But
so this is what I was actually kind of saying last week is in my 20s, I feel like I used to do that where I would second guess myself a lot.
I second guess myself.
And at this point in my life, I think because I understand that when I second guess myself, I have to deal with me. And we're so hard on ourselves when we're disappointed in the way that we've behaved. Like, I don't give a fuck about offending somebody. If the boundary is to make myself feel better. Yeah.
I'm getting, this is where we're at now. This is why this is why I'm saying I'm not holding on to things anymore.
Yeah.
And now I'm in a space where I've grown enough to where I can, you know how you like sit and you reevaluate a situation between you and a person. You're like, okay, I can check the box and say I didn't do this as a friend. I wasn't like this in the relationship. I was always on time at work. So I feel like I have given enough to this person, place, or thing to where I could just be like, okay, this isn't for me. And not feel bad about my reaction or how I'm getting better at that. But for a long time, I would be like, oh, you always have a problem with everyone. So maybe you're making this an issue. Don't make it an issue. And then it really is an issue.
I think we also just like psych ourselves out a lot because we don't want to be too dismissive of things.
Yeah, I guess I'm that. I'm also, for me, a lot of it is I'm a logical thinker. So if I keep having issues with jobs, I keep having issues with men or relationships with friends, I will immediately think it's me.
Yeah.
I immediately am like, oh, I need to work on myself. Obviously, if I keep getting fired and I keep having the same man. So like I had that happen. But one of the things I'm learning in this life is this process of healing and this list that we're making. A lot of people don't do this. So 90% of the time that you are having these problems and you keep getting fired, these jobs really could be the problem. Like,
it literally, yes. But I also just think you run into a bunch of like things that are not for you before you get to the thing that is for you. Yeah. And so I kind of get flack from people a lot because I do cut things off. Job.
You so good at it. I'm so bad at it.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck what it is. If you getting on my nerves and you disrupting my peace, you gotta go.
I'm an emotional nightmare.
Yeah. And I am an emotional nightmare, but not for that reason.
I'm just saying like, I'm like clumsy, weird. Like, for example, like if I may not even care about an ex anymore, but I see him somewhere, I'm going to drop the coffee.
Oh, well,
I'm going to fall down those flights of stairs.
Yeah, for sure I'm going to do that.
I
for
can't
sure.
believe this is like,
I'm going to have the most clumsy reaction. 100% I'm that.
So with that being said, I'm trying to work on my strength as far as like, that's not even a part of your life.
Yeah.
If you see this person, it's like a shadow. You're like, I've evolved.
Yes.
I'm in a whole nother place. What I learned from you is what I learned from you. Even if you come up to me, it's like, we don't even speak the same language anymore. I need to get it.
Wah, wah,
you know
wah,
what I'm saying?
wah.
You're like, what? So like, that's what I'm really trying to accomplish with myself to where it's like, things that are not in my life, I have to distinctively look at them as like, these were growth points and that's it.
Yeah. And it's fine.
That's it.
I think we have to be less rigid and
less petty for me because I am definitely
petty queen.
Yeah.
I support it.
Yeah.
Sometimes people deserve it.
You know?
But I think we have to be less rigid in how we judge ourselves too when we're in those situations. Because to your point, I do have a tendency to be very awkward when I run into people like that. Do I want to say I'm awkward?
I think I will be.
I
All the
can
spaghetti
be
fell out of my
awkward.
pocket.
I think I can be awkward, but I also think it depends on the circumstance of the like departure, like the way that the relationship ended. What were the circumstances there?
I'm saying that's what I mean. Like I'm trying to work on like being done. Like I'm petty queen. It's 10 years later. You somebody who did me dirty. I'm still probably got some clap back for you when I shouldn't.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Okay.
I'm her.
Okay, I thought we was literally talking about like being clumsy, and that is 100%
that too. I'm about to drop all the spaghetti in my pocket. Then I'm gonna stand up and be like, "You son of a bitch!" It's a mess. It's a whole mess.
Why she got spaghetti in her pocket?
They like she's unhealed. She doesn't seem healed. I'm trying to come out healed, but like, yeah, I'm her. I'm
okay.
Still
I can appreciate
emotionally
that.
wrapped around.
Yes, attached to it in some way. Yes,
it's ridiculous. And
I can
like,
definitely
on,
appreciate that. I can definitely appreciate that. And I think just emotional attachment any sense is hard to renegotiate because you're used to like existing in a certain way, and you're kind of like trying to convince your brain and your mind and your spirit to move differently. Right. It's almost like retraining yourself in how how to be, because you've been the same way for your entire life. So if you're in a process where you're reflecting on who you are and what you've done and how you've been, and you want to move differently, you got to give yourself a lot of fucking grace while you're doing it. Yeah. Because it's so easy to revert back to those old patterns. That's like, so that's why one of my things is to like give myself grace for my vices. Because it's so easy to revert back, and you do it without even thinking about it. Yeah. And you catch yourself after the moment and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I definitely should have handled that differently.
Well, I mean, I guess so. I guess there are things that I've noticed that I've reverted back to very quickly to you. Yeah. Like, and I've been angry with myself with that. Because when you have that happen, you're like, dang it, I let this person take me, or whatever this job is, take me to that. I mean, I've been doing pretty good with that because I've been having some run-ins with a job, and people have been like, I can't believe you haven't said XYZ. And I'm like, I don't want to be her. Yeah. Like, I just don't feel like
that's growth.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I definitely, But I that's like number one on my list. I definitely feel like I want to work on letting things go. Like when things are not going a certain way, understanding that this ain't for you, and something better is coming, and you're not going to allow that better to even show up until you literally believe and let go of what's terrible.
Okay, so I actually have like kind of this is a little bit of a segue, but just stay with me, okay? So
she's like, don't get caught up in the ocean.
Don't get caught up, I'm going to tell y'all. Okay? I love it. So I was talking to my sister the other day about how if you are a person who like listens to fortune tellers, right? Okay. And the fortune teller is constantly telling you you're about to have the biggest opportunity of your life. You're gonna be so wealthy. You're gonna take care of your family. Your biggest manifestation is coming in. You're on your way. It's gonna happen. Okay. Even if you start watching and listening to a fortune teller tell you that and you don't necessarily believe it, something in you, as you constantly hear the better thing is coming, you're about to get your manifestation, your life is about to change, you're about to be richer than you've ever been, something in you will start to move in a direction to attract that. Because somebody said it was going to happen. It's almost like an affirmation. Yeah. Somebody just told you that it was going to happen. And if you see it again, and you see it again, and you see it again, and you see it again, because, on social media, the same stuff constantly comes up unless you block it out. Yeah. And so if you're constantly seeing it on your timeline, somebody telling you you're about to have $1 million, you're about to live your best life, you will slowly start to align with that thinking. Yeah. And suddenly you'll look up and you're living in one of your manifestations like, wait a fucking minute. Yeah. But I didn't believe this was going to happen. And yet here we are. And so to your point, you do actually have to believe that something new is coming in. And a lot of times you almost have to trick your brain into doing it by not letting it hold on to this thing that is, like you were saying, I don't want to live in the I'm too broke to afford this. Like, I got to be the it girl right now. Yeah. You trick your brain into saying, we're here right now.
We're here right now.
We're on the timeline. We're in the reality that we want to be in. We're doing the things that we want to do. Yep. We just have not physically caught up yet, but that's okay. We're on the timeline. We gonna live our best lives, and slowly all that stuff just kind of starts to attract and come in for you.
Yeah, and did that make sense? No, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, that makes a lot of sense as a wrap around everything we've been talking about in every episode. Yeah. Now where we're at this stage in our lives where now we are literally taking the moment to slow down and see everything we've learned, understanding what we've learned, and understanding what's going on around us in a way so we can make these decisions, which is something that most people never talk about. Everybody talks about the growth and the healing and the getting there and the being able to identify. When you get there and you're not used to being there, you have no idea what to do with that.
You don't know what the hell to do. You be standing around looking like, do anybody got directions?
This is what I'm saying. Like, I've healed through so many things, but have I given myself the rewarding to be a part of that healing? Have I treated myself in certain areas, or am I still living in a broke mentality? Yes. Or am I in a space where I'm like, I'm no longer holding on to things in the past? Because that, a lot of our personalities come from our past childhoods to, past relationships. Are you really releasing that to the point where you're feeling lighter and you're really renewing yourself? A lot of people don't take the time to even check. Yeah. This talked about, but are we really doing it? And that's what I'm saying. Like, for me, all the things that I've learned from heartbreak and losing jobs and broken friendships, now I feel like I'm able to release those things faster to get to where I want to go and where I want to be in my, because you can get to your manifestations faster if you're like, you know what, that's not for me. Cool, moving on.
Detachment, baby.
Detaching yourself quickly
is the key to everything.
Because everybody, most of us will hold on to things. You don't want to lose your job because you're like, well, I don't have another one lined up and I don't know where that's coming from. So let me hold on to this, and you keep getting mistreated.
Though it's draining the life force out of me. Yeah.
When you can just be like, all right, this ain't it. Keep it moving and trust
that something else is going to come along.
And it usually,
and the thing is, when you,
not even usually, it does.
Yeah. When you get into that space of like trusting that something else is going to come along, the more you do it, it's like a muscle. So the more you get into the space of like trusting that something good is going to come along, that things are going to work out, the easier it becomes for you to take the leap of faith. Because when I first...
not to cut you off, that's the reason why I was like, I want to talk about the 5 things I'm trying my ass off to do, because I feel like once I get to that, I'm really going to get to this part. The better part of like, because life going to always be lifing. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. But like, you really do have to work the muscle of taking a leap of faith. Taking a leap of faith is not something that is easy to do. It's a thing that we throw out all the time.
Yeah.
But to not know where your paycheck is going to come from, how your bills are going to get paid, how you're going to get to work, like if you're gonna get the house, car, relationship, baby, like that's scary.
It's very scary.
It's very scary. And I think a lot of times we get so attached to what we want it to be that we cannot create space for what could happen. Yeah. And so when you detach and let go and just take a leap of faith and say, yeah, I don't really know, I really should go to work today, and look, this is what I be doing. And so at this point, I'm going to just validate.
What is it?
It's like, I really should go to work today, but I have this opportunity to network and hang out with some people that could help me further my career. Or I really should go to work today, but I haven't seen my friends for a long time, and I kind of really need to be poured into at this point.
Right.
Like sometimes you have to say, okay, this is not necessarily something that I see as super beneficial for me in the moment, but I'm going to do it anyway because I need it.
Yeah.
I need to hang out with my friends right now. I need to go to this event and network. Like, work can wait. Work be stressing me out. Work be driving me nuts. I'm about to quit this job because this is getting in the way of me, like, really focusing on this dream that I have, and trusting that quitting the job and focusing on the dream will ultimately propel you into the timeline you want to be in.
That are like go-getters that use the word. Because we got some people, you got to keep in mind there are some people that...
I don't want to encourage you to like,
you need to force yourself
to go to work. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's some people that, you know, they aren't that. They definitely don't want to go to work. They definitely aren't making plans or doing anything. They're definitely in a streak of like laziness. Or not even necessarily
I don't
lazy.
think it's laziness. I think people get into streaks of like depression and being in their head and rumination. I've been there. Like, I completely understand. But I'm specifically talking about like when you're in pursuit of a dream.
Yeah.
And you're in pursuit of something bigger than yourself. And you don't really have like an outline for how it's going to look. And you just kind of got to trust the process. Part of trusting the process is knowing that sometimes you got to do stuff that doesn't necessarily seem like it's the right thing to do in the moment, but your gut is telling you this kind of feels
and
right.
You can't get tapped in, I don't feel like, to even learn that until a whole bunch of bad shit happened.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't get my power of like manifestation and or having like the faith that I feel like I got now until it just be real bad. Like, in other words,
they call it a dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you like, I've been in this space of my life where I've tried to control so many scenarios in my life, where whether it's how I want my career to look or down to my short-term goal of that month. And if it, you know, if it doesn't go that way, you're devastated. How about going through 1 million of those? Yeah. When you go through enough of those, now you're like, all right, whatever. It's Saturday.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
That's how I wake up. I'll be like, it's Saturday. I'm not finna be like, I need Saturday to look like XYZ anymore.
I think we just spent a lot of time running ourselves into the ground to try to like facilitate a certain thing, and then the shit didn't go the way that we thought it was going to go anyway.
You deal with enough disappointment in life, or I wouldn't say necessarily disappointment, because I'm learning to not call it a disappointment. Just things going left when you plan for it to go right. Yeah, to the point where now you don't feel fully like you need to be in control, because you've also seen the outcome of if it goes left and you wanted it to go right, that left might have not even been that bad. Yeah. So I don't know. Once you see that enough times, I think for me, it has pushed me to a space where now I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore again. I'm going to change that, because when I stressed out too much over that, I wore myself out for absolutely nothing.
For nothing.
Yeah. I have a lot of moments like that in my life. A lot of them.
I definitely have had the dark night of the soul. The crying in the car, crying on the floor, sliding down the wall.
I'll be sliding down the wall.
Yeah. Like, have had that, I would say probably... I feel out of it now. God, please let me be out of it. I think I'm done. But I want to say maybe for like the last 5 months or so.
Okay.
Prior to like maybe the beginning of April.
Okay.
It's just been one trial after tribulation after another.
I've been there.
Yeah. And so it got to the point where I just really had to be like, okay, I got to drop my hands here because I'm exhausted.
You got to pull out the game. That's what I be on.
Like, I just don't know what else I'm supposed to do.
Hit back to back to back with like, whether it would be like, oh, I got a ticket and my boyfriend's tripping, or I got fired. Like, it would be like, you know.
Yeah.
It would never just be like one issue I could like deal with.
Full on fuckery. Yeah.
It would have to be 6 or 7 things at once.
Yes.
I used to try to fight the grain with it, try to fix it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I can't
be
do
like,
it.
oh, let me doctor this up with the boyfriend. That's not, you know, now I'll be like, let it all crash and burn.
Let it crash and burn. I be laying on my yoga mat crying, just like, okay, well, I guess
I'm getting better at not
doing.
even doing that. Now I just had this thing where I'm really into the sun.
Okay, it's healing.
The sun reboots me, so I'll find somewhere to sit in front of the sun.
Yes.
And if I'm just scrolling on my phone or if I'm writing jokes, I'll just tap out on everything.
Yeah.
I had a moment like that this last week. It was some stuff going on with my job, and I was like, you know what? You're always going back and forth with them about this. You're always trying to fix it or find a way to still fight for yourself. You know you have that, but you can't make this work with this.
Yep.
So you got to like tap out. Whatever they talking about,
let it go.
We're not even going to...
Not going to worry about it.
And then lo and behold, it worked out. Somehow I sprinkle a little money came somewhere. But like, it'd be like that.
It'd be like that.
You know, but yeah, I literally, I refuse to put myself in positions now where I'm just like stressed out about stuff that I know I can't control.
I wonder if that comes with age, or if there are people who are younger who get it very early.
I think you just assume because of the way you were raised. At least for me, it was. For my life, it was just like a lot of what I was fighting was things that I couldn't control. And nobody was telling me that. They were always being like, you control your life and you can be whatever you want to be when you grow up. And you know it's not the answer. And just keep pushing. No one's telling you to like work smarter. They're just telling you to work harder and keep pushing without the realization you get over time of how hard I work doesn't determine how successful I'm going to be.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. That is the biggest fucking fallacy.
And so if you have the mindset of going into it, of just hard,
I'm gonna run myself into the ground,
then you'll be in that. And that's the way I was raised. I was raised of no, don't take no for an answer. Always work hard. Keep pushing no matter what. And like you miss certain things with that mindset.
Yeah. It's just too hard to maintain that momentum.
Yeah. But I've learned now, though, you can still maintain that momentum, but you got to understand what you're fighting against.
What your limits are. Yeah.
And how it's going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just different.
There's limits. There's levels to this shit. And you got to respect where you are in your journey and what your mental is requiring of you at the present moment.
Which brings me to this is my fourth one. Setting boundaries with friends, family, parents, and understanding my relationship with my family. Yes. I'm setting that this year because I found that last year I had simple disagreements with family members that weren't necessarily like big agreements, but like I forgot in my mind, like, okay, you were raised in an environment was this way, but now you've grown as a woman.
Yeah.
You've gone through therapy. You see things a little different than this type.
Yeah.
You can't control how they're going to see it. And you have to understand that. That relationship that you want with your mother, you got to change that idea how it looks.
Yeah, because I think we go through the therapy and then we expect our parents to magically become these healed.
Like they going to be like, oh,
yeah,
girl,
that's
no.
amazing.
My problem was I would always learn something great in therapy and then run it by my mom and just assume she was going to be like, you know what, you're right. Now that's a good therapist. She's smart. Now I'm going to start doing that. You in your crazy mind thinking that.
I was going to therapy and she was like, girl, what you going to therapy for? Girl, What you mean?
you baby girl.
But yeah, she really didn't get it. And I have had to do that myself. I actually started doing meditations on healing the mother wound because me and my mom actually have a pretty close relationship. Where I'm close to my mom. Like she's somebody that I talk to about everything in life, but we disagree on a lot of big shit. And sometimes it'd be really getting like, ma'am, what are you talking about? I would get so infuriated. And my sister, I think I talked about this like around the first episode or so. My sister is always like, are you the drama? Because my mom is 69 years old. She's not going to change the way she thinks. I'm not about to suddenly come in with my therapized mind and my new way of thinking and get her to update the way she's been handling her life. It's not going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
It's not going to happen. She's not going to change her stripes for you. What you can do is change the way you deal with her stripes.
Absolutely. That's your only way.
That's the only way. Because I love my mama and I'm not finna do the thing where I just am constantly butting heads with her. Like we get a very short amount of time with these people.
Absolutely.
Yes. And so I'm gonna love you. You gonna drive me nuts sometimes. And I'm gonna say, okay, mom, I gotta go. And she gonna laugh at me because like she just
learning
knows
how to say I gotta go or learning how to, it's major. I think for me, due to the, like pertaining to my list, due to the fact that I've held on to so many things from my past that have like been a burden for me through therapy and different trauma, it's so important for me to understand where I stand with my mother. Because like it'll be something simple that we could be beefing over and like it'll trigger childhood things for me. For example, like I've learned recently that when I'm in any kind of trauma or I'm hurt by something or whatever, I could be complaining about my job and I tell my mom, if my mom can't fix it for me, she gets angry. And so, and then I don't know where the anger is coming from. So then that causes us to argue. Damn. Now we don't know why we're
stressed
arguing.
About the job and you arguing with your mama.
Yeah. So we've had that relationship throughout my whole life. So it really causes a lot of like triggering for me. Because when we do that, I'm like, oh my God, I start turning into the little girl needing math problem help. And I'll be like, this is how she's acting. So, so for me, it's just been like understanding my boundary with my mother, understand what I can and can't talk to her about, what I can and can't share, and how I'm going to accept how she responds to things. And that has also setting the boundary with her, letting her know this bothers me the best of my ability. Because a lot of times I set a boundary with Lorraine and she finna come back to my door with the same stuff again.
I really be having to just check myself like, this lady's 69 years old.
And it's not gonna work.
It ain't gonna work. And the other thing is I think about some of the stuff that my mom has been through. Right. It ain't no way I would have survived the shit she been through. So you know what? You live your life, and I'm gonna just work around what you got going on.
The therapy probably couldn't handle y'all.
The
therapist couldn't handle the parents from my day.
Yeah, because the shit that they had to go through.
Think about
the shit that they had to go through. Like I think about the stuff that my mom went through.
That's true.
Before she was even 20 years old.
Yeah, they lived a different life.
They lived a completely different life, and they did a really great job of sheltering us as best they could from the things that they like, shielding us from the things that they went through, but they never healed from that. Yeah. They never had the opportunity to like parse it out and really like come to terms with what they experienced. They just had to like keep going. So my mom, by the time she was 30, had 4 kids. You don't have time to be your own self.
And learn the way we're learning.
Yeah.
Because you're raising someone else.
Exactly. Single time. My mama had 4 of us and my dad had gone to like, they had separated and he'd gone to live back in Michigan. Well, she still got these 4 kids she got to raise by herself. Yeah. So she's going through a divorce and a separation from her husband. That's why she like, girl, years.
Boundaries, bitch.
Yes,
I was getting a divorce when you talking about boundaries, bitch.
She's literally like, her life is unraveling and she's still got to figure out how to get to work every day, how to feed and clothe 4 kids, how to make emotional space for them.
I've never even looked at it in that lens. Like my mom was raising me in her 30s, whereas I'm learning what type of heels feel better on my feet.
Yes, we really live in such a privileged space. Because
I wasn't raising 2 kids.
Yes, and they was doing the shit by themselves. Like my dad, we have a better relationship now. I'm so thankful for that. But we really had a hard time for a while. Yeah. Because I just was like, sir, you just kind of dipped out. Yeah. And thinking about kind of contextualizing what her life must have felt like at that point, where you had help in the house for the first 10 years and then suddenly this man is just gone and you got to do it by yourself. I can imagine what she went through. Yeah. When I was going through my own heartbreak by myself and I was living with my apartment and my dog and my beautiful, like, Art Deco building with French windows.
Right.
I was sliding down the wall, but I had the sunlight beaming on my face.
And that's the thing that my mother says to me quite often. What you're saying is like, oh, you have it great. I didn't have to
They didn't have it.
This way. The way you're grieving sounds amazing.
Yes. The way we grieving. Sex in the City. Baby, we grieving on the beach. Mm-hmm. We grieving with girls at brunch. I'm like crying.
My last hard cry, I was in my friend's car. He has a very terrible car. I was borrowing it. And I cried real hard in the car. Snot just all over. I wonder if he saw it. It was all over that front seat. Because I was wiping it. It was crazy. It was.
You was wiping it on the
I had a dramatic cry in that car. I'm talking about, the cry where you lose air, like
you can't breathe.
You screaming, but it's all like ain't no more scream coming out. Like
ain't even no tears. You done got all the tears out, but you still breaking down on the inside.
It was a breakdown cry. It was a bad.
Yeah, but we get to do that in such a different space.
I had a real bad headache.
Yeah,
I was real sick.
Yes. But imagine you couldn't do that. Imagine you just didn't have the space to do that because you got a bunch of kids that you got to take care of.
No, my mom tells me that all the time. She tells me that all the time.
So we live in like such a privileged space.
And that brings me to the boundary that I do set with her to make our relationship better.
Yeah.
I try not, because my mother has this tendency, if I tell her about what is going on in my life, she'll be like, well, you don't got to do it with kids. I'm not really trying to talk about that right now. Right now, I'm just trying to tell you.
This what I mean when I just say, all right, mama, I got to go. I love you.
Yeah.
That's the boundary for me.
I had a funny situation recently. I was telling her, my mom, about how I felt about a lot of stuff. I was crying. It was like all deep. It was releasing. I was like, I literally felt lighter after the conversation. Yeah. And she was quiet on the other end. I'm like, oh shit, she's listening. You know what I'm saying? Like she probably hears me, whatever. I'm saying how I feel. I'm like, damn, she's
tapped in.
She's about to hear me.
Yes.
And then when I was done saying how I felt, she still was quiet. I'm like, not you listened and you finna respond. My nigga, when the phone said boop, boop, boop.
No, she said, I'm not even on the line, baby.
I got a text being like, girl, you know how to use this phone? I was like,
my God.
So like, I thought how I got through to my mother. I was like, this is the day.
No, it's not.
This was the day that we set boundaries.
Universe said, played in your face, child.
Played in my face.
They said, oh, no, not today.
Baby, you thought she was listening? She ain't even on the phone. She not even on the phone, baby. She ain't even on the phone.
She been gone. Been gone.
Gone.
It's okay.
But
at least you got it out.
You got it out that day. I felt good that day.
You got it out. And for a moment in time, you thought she was listening, and that felt good.
And you know what my boyfriend said? Baby, you're going to get you a journal called Dear Mama. Dear Mama. The journal.
Just write her a note.
The different letters and she never going to read.
Just write some little notes and just say, you know what? This is how I'm feeling about what's happening right now.
But I'm in a good space now with my mother of knowing like, when she starts talking wild, to get off the phone and exit stage left. Or if it's too deep and I know that I'm not going to get the response from her that I'm looking for, I don't even go into detail with her. But that's one of the things I'm setting my boundaries with this year is like understanding my relationship with my mother.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think it's so important. And I also think it's healing. It's healing for you, but it's healing for your future self too. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times what happens is we're so hard on our parents and we're so angry with how they're not like living up to the expectations that we've created because of our therapy, that they leave. Yeah. And then we're just like, fuck, I wish I had more time. I wish I could go back and talk differently. I wish that I could go back and like handle situations differently. Like, we got a limited amount of time, people. So if your parents are not like actively abusive, just figure out how to move around it and go.
Yeah, like, you can move around that.
You can
I think a lot of times too, like with most African American parents, Black parents, they're a little bit more hardcore than what our therapists are going to tell us. Yeah. Obviously, we definitely be shocked with what our parents say to us when you be like, but I'm sad. How could you say that I need my hair done right now?
Yes.
Because that's Lorraine. She going to be like, I'll be crying to the death. She's like, but them braids need to be redone.
Baby, your mama is a savage. Oh my
God. She gonna come for your neck when your sadness.
She said, you can't be crying on the phone and your braids raggedy. Yeah, get it together. Pick a struggle. Do your hair and if you feel better,
she will come for your neck. That is Lorraine, honey. She will do you.
I think probably for her, that's also maybe, look, it's me trying to like, maybe that's her love language.
I come from that kind of family.
Yeah, maybe that's her love language.
Just like that.
Yeah, you gonna joke family. It up. You gonna joke a little razzy, give a little
razzle dazzle on it.
Yeah, you're not gonna do we can't do too much sentiment. But here's a little joke for you. Hope that's okay. Like, you know what?
I come from an okay wig kind of family. I'm not. I see your jacket. Like we gonna come for you. Like And it's not a compliment.
I'm not mad at it.
Let's go,
mad
shoes.
at it. I'm like, that is just so inherently black,
That's
though.
crazy.
That's just black.
So
I feel
I'm
like that's
triggered when
what
somebody
Negroes
say, "Let's
do.
go, outfit."
Yes.
I'll be like, "What you mean?
Wait, is it not okay? Yes, no, you look good. You look good. You cool, boo. You cool. You good. Don't
That's
worry about
crazy.
it. You good. Don't worry about it.
But I've learned to do better because we used to argue so hard, her and I, and it would stress me out.
Yeah.
It would stress me out. I'd be going through, whatever I'm going through with a breakup or whatever I'm happening in life, and I would call my mom, looking for my mom to be my mom.
You
and
wanted a mom.
She would come for my neck, and I'd be like trying to tell her how to mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then she'd be like, "Oh, so I guess I'm a bad mother. You didn't decide to," and then I get hung up on. And that was going on for like years. So now I'm definitely cracking down on being like, for our relationship.
Yeah.
And my mental health, it's pick and choose the conversation.
Yeah.
Pick and choose your battles with this lady.
This is the way.
Love you, though.
This is the way. I think that actually leads me into my last one, which is no more self-sabotaging.
I love that.
Yes.
Yes. Now
Yes.
I think that should be pushed up to the top.
Actually,
About
that is my
all
first
10 of
thing.
ours,
yeah,
yeah.
I know, right? That's my first thing. Yes.
Because this is the year I think
no more
that-
self-sabotaging.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's important.
Yeah, I am I think we all are people who repeat habits, and we're constantly in a place of reflection and trying to like be better and do better.
Mhm.
And something that has really helped me this last week, y'all know I be meditating on everything all the time. Started doing these inner child meditations.
Ooh.
And it's like heal your inner child. And basically
What's this one?
it kind of just helps you come out of your shell a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it also kind of helps you activate in the ways that you want to be activated, as opposed to like sitting stagnant in your self-sabotage behavior.
Okay.
And so for me, a lot of my self-sabotage is not spending my time the way that I need to be spending my time. So anytime I would talk to like people who own multiple businesses, they would be like, "I don't watch TV." And I'd be like, "Oh, okay." But because I do watch TV, I'll like binge a show or like couple episodes, or they don't really scroll on social media. Hearing that constantly over the last couple of years, I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, I definitely need to reevaluate the way that I spend my time when I'm at my house. Because I will have like a super long day and come home and plop down on the couch and watch 3 episodes of SVU and go to sleep. But
I'm not a big TV person.
I'm a TV person. I grew up in a TV family. Like, this is just kind of something that we've always done. And now I'm in the mental space where, since I've been listening to this meditation, I'm in the mental space now where I'm more activated towards doing things that are actually going to propel me into the place I want to be in. Okay. So instead of scrolling, I'm editing. Instead of watching TV, I'm shooting content.
Okay, making yourself more proactive.
Yeah, like it's really just getting into a space of constantly being aware of what you could be working on for your business, because you should be working on it every fucking day,
right?
Especially if you don't. I don't.
And when you don't self-sabotage, like you were saying, that gives you more confidence to push forward. To
exactly.
Do that. Yeah.
That's how you like get through some of that imposter syndrome, because you don't feel necessarily like you're worthy of being in the space because you're not putting everything that you have into being the best at what you're doing. Right. But the truth of the matter is, like, we spend so much time mindlessly existing here, whether we're scrolling or watching TV or listening to music, where we could be spending that time investing in our business, investing in our physical health, whether that's yoga or Pilates or whatever it is, like investing in making sure that we're getting vitamin D because you like going outside, right?
Yeah.
So making sure you're going on walks, but being productive in a way that pushes you towards your goals, basically. Yeah. So this is me saying no more self-sabotaging, no more like binge eating. And I know I said I was going to stop trying to do extremes of things.
You was like, no more of this, no more. No more. It's extreme. It's extreme.
I'm trying to just be more conscious of how I spend my time. Like,
no, that's good.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Definitely want to be more conscious.
The self-sabotage part, I think, is amazing. Like, I feel like, we all go through that, like, on a daily. I know I do. Especially when I start reaching different levels of stuff.
Yeah.
I'll really have imposter syndrome, being like, oh, you're not doing this right or that way. My last one, because I know we're running out of time, is never depending on people. Knowing that I make my life no matter what.
Mm-hmm. You do. You are in control of
I'm in control.
That. Yes.
I've made a lot of mistakes last year. Wrapping my life around other things. Yeah. In other words, my life's going to be great if this TV show pop off, or if he marries me, or if my friendship and her go to whatever. I I've learned that I make my life, regardless of who's involved in my life. If they play a big or a small part, I still control my life.
Yeah.
No job is the end all be all.
Yep.
No booking. And that's something I really, really, I think is important for me this year, because for so long, for me, it would be like, my life isn't complete unless I have this. Mm-hmm. My life isn't complete unless I'm with this person or that person. I literally, for the first time in my life, feel like it's complete with me.
Yes.
Like,
yes, I love that.
I feel very complete in what I do in my career and where I'm at. And I'm getting better every day too, feeling complete without the amount of funds. Like, I'm not broke, but it's just like sometimes you feel weird when you don't have, like when you're like, oh, I'm down to like this amount of, I'm getting better at feeling confident in the moments of money is low, because money comes and goes.
It does. Money is fluid. But I also think that kind of sounds to me, again, like detachment. Mm-hmm. From the outcome of what it's supposed to look like.
I'm definitely in a detached right now.
And detachment is how you... So, like, if you think about detachment in the sense of, like, you being tethered to the ground when you're trying to fly.
Right.
Right? So, your things that you are hanging on to super tight that are not necessarily working, those are the things that are tethering you to the ground. Mm-hmm. When you operate from a place of detachment, when you're just saying, I'm not going to hold on to anything that is not serving me, those like strings that are keeping you tethered to the ground will pop and you will float into the existence that you're supposed to be in. But as long as you stay attached to the ground, you will not reach the heights that you're supposed to go to.
It's a risky thing.
It's a risky thing. Yeah.
It's really no way to really tell anybody to like go about this, because nobody's saying quit that job, break up with that man, or stop talking to those girls.
Yeah.
But it's, if you feel it in your gut that it's not working, or you don't feel like you're growing, or you feel like something about that is making you sad or giving you anxiety, you do need to make the choice to
let it go.
That risk to let it go.
So that actually makes me think of something when you talk about relationships, in the sense of like people staying in relationships when they feel like it's not for them, or being like digmatized. You know how people be like, the sex was just so good I couldn't let him go. I kind of feel like this is y'all operating in a place of lack. Not like us, but like people in general. When you're staying in a relationship with someone because the sex is so great, or because they provide this thing or they provide that thing, you're operating from a place of lack. And the truth of the matter is, if you feel like that's the best you can do, that is the best you can do. That's all you're going to be able to do if you think that's the best you can get.
Yeah.
But if you get to a place of detachment and you say, you know what, this is not serving me, I don't like the way that it makes me feel, and you let it go, you will notice that the universe going to come right back in.
It's going to give you something else.
Great sex, and you deserve that.
And it's probably quickly. Like, I'll be honest with you, and I know we're running out of time, I'll close here. There's been moments in my life that I didn't think I was going to find a better job or a better guy, and I would hold on to them, or I wouldn't quit that job. I literally had a moment in my life where I was like, you know what, this isn't working for me. Boom. Didn't have another job lined up, or didn't have another boo lined up, and I feel like they come the same day.
It's like express delivery. It is Amazon Prime. I had a 2-day shipping. Like, you really got to get in a mindset of understanding that letting it go, giving up when it ain't serving you, you're not giving up anything.
You're opening up the door for something new. It is better.
You're releasing so that you can float into the stratosphere and meet your like match. Meet the person or the job that is for you. So y'all need to make y'all top 5. Get on your Zoom. Get on your Zoom, baby. Make your top 5 of things that you're leaving behind. Habits you're breaking for the year.
Yeah, and make sure that you are doing those things so you can have progress for this coming summer, ladies and gents.
Because we're going to try to live your best life, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
See you guys later.
Bye, boos.